Well, all right. Welcome to the Blairstown Township Committee meeting for December 26, 2024. Can we have an opening roll call, please?
Mrs. Lance.
Here.
Mr. Lohman.
Here.
Mr. McAtor.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Orcott.
Here.
Mayor Moorhead.
Here. Can we all please rise for the salute the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bear with me, these aren't the right prescription strength glasses. But it was all I had in the car. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this public meeting through a legal notice published in the New Jersey Herald and/or the Express Times following the Township's annual reorganization meeting at which the 2024 meeting schedule was adopted. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Merry Christmas, a day late, but we try to keep the meetings as close to the holidays as we can. We would like them to really just butt right up against the holiday. But I hope you all had a great one. And we're here for one last time tonight in our 2024 meeting schedule. We have one individual who's not going to be with us very much longer, just a couple, maybe an hour, hour and a half. I have a few things I'd like to talk about with you later on, or maybe about you. But we'll start off with our public comments. Anyone have anything they would like to bring before the committee? Come on up. Lorraine, she's easy.
Okay, thank you so much. I do have a couple of handouts that I'd like to share with you. I did time what I'm going to say, and I think it will come in at 5 minutes.
Okay. Let's start off with your name and address.
But we need to, my name is Christine Dunbar. I live in Sparta, New Jersey, 101 Wagon Wheel Road.
Okay.
And don't need to.
Nope. You're good.
Okay. All right.
Just for the record.
Thank you. So maybe we could just pass one of these down, because I could just talk briefly about it.
Yeah, I have these out actually, so I'm going to give those. They're in the front.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
No problem.
Sit down. Like many of us who've been cooking and standing. So, I have these glasses.
Hopefully they're yours. I don't even know who these are. I belong to
These
us.
are old ones. Yeah, I scratched all my good ones, so there you go. So some of you, I think I've met all of you. My name is Christine Dunbar, as I said, and I work for the Food Shed Alliance. And I work on its environmental program that's known as the Pollenskill Watershed Community. Myself, 2 other part-time staff members, and especially volunteers work towards keeping our environment safe and healthy. So I want to thank you all for hearing my brief projects update. I just wanted to come in and update you on what we've accomplished this 2024. And there's many projects we've been working on, and one of our successes has been the River Friendly Farms program. And I did want to thank you. Some of you came out for the certification presentation at the race farm. So thank you very much for being there. We also had another farm in Lafayette that was certified this year. Another thing we worked on this year was we have NJDEP certified volunteers and friends, and what we do is we do the water quality sampling and monitoring, and we do it twice a year. And we do it on 3 sites throughout the Pollenskill watershed. We do it in the upper, the middle section, and the lower, which is the Jacksonburg Creek here. And I'm happy to share with you that all sites measured healthy. So this data is submitted to the Clean Water Act site. We also held our 3rd annual Pollenskill field trip with the Stillwater Elementary 5th grade, which is always a lot of fun. And most recently, we removed an assortment of items discarded into our former Paulina Dam during this year's fall cleanup and educational walk and talk with the Nature Conservancy. Currently, as you probably may or may not know, we have started our winter road salt monitoring program for 24-25. The 23-24 season monitoring occurred minimally due to last winter's warmth. Right now, we hope to interest more Blairstown residents in testing their nearby surface waters for road salt contamination. The collection of benchmark data through time is fundamentally important for the early detection of problems emerging, which may lead to drinking water contamination and degradation of recreational waters. Many sites are needed. It's a fun project. Right now also, this is a big one, starting on January 3rd through March, we are holding Floodplain Friday events in which we invite towns and volunteer organizations to remove the plastic shelters and stakes from our riverside forests. We've already begun right here at Footbridge Park with Sparta Troop 150 Eagle Scout project, removing over 1,000 shelters from the middle section this past December. And on January 3rd is our kickoff, and we hope volunteers will meet us at Footbridge Park to conquer the nearest section to the park. And registrants will be notified of cancellations. So, a big accomplishment also, and I almost forgot to put this down, and this is one of the reasons why I'm here today, is we completed the very first Pollenskill watershed video. And this was supported and funded by a grant from the Lower Delaware Wild and Scenic River. And we would love if we could show this to you. There's actually 4 videos, or each 10 minutes each. If we could perhaps at a future meeting in 2025, if we could show you the first one, just to see, what you think of it, because we hope that this will be something that we can all be proud of and also learn from and educate with. So
Are those
that's,
videos, are they going to be available for the public?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So that's
Yeah,
something
that
we
was
can
part,
put on the
that was
website.
part of, well, I want you to see it first, because I just want you to see it when you're here, and I want to hear what you have to say about it, and, because even though these 4 videos are complete, we want to improve upon them and represent our area well with your input, and maybe revise them in the future. Not right away, it's a lot of work, but, that would be wonderful if you would.
If I could just interject, did you say each one of these are 10 minutes long?
Each one is 10 minutes, one is actually only 7.5, and the
What I
other
would
is
suggest to
11.
you is, send them to Kristen, so you can distribute it amongst the committee, they can look at it at their leisure. Because to come in here in a committee meeting can take up, 30, 40 minutes to watch
No.
videos.
But that's why I
a little bit,
suggested, They're actually, I will send it to Kristen, the links, they're actually on YouTube.
That's great.
Yeah, the first 3, we're still editing the last one.
Nice.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. And do you have any questions about what we're doing, or any suggestions, ideas, comments?
I liked what you were saying about the volunteer opportunity for people to remove, the collars and the stays from the trees?
Yes,
And
those are the shelters, the
Okay.
plastic shelters and the stakes. There are an estimate of 35,000 shelters, all the way from Knowlton up to Lafayette.
And that's the riparian tree planting that's alongside the,
Yes.
would love more information about that, so we can put up the information so that we can get local volunteers to help with that.
Yeah, I would very much like to approach some groups and have a group or a business, for instance, take a Friday And we can't really get into an area to remove the shelters, I don't feel safely, until the first frost. So the scout troop started at the end of November when it got cold and all the thorn bushes were dying back and we could get in there. And then when it starts growing again in April, we can't do it. So we have like a window of 4 months to do as much as we can. But I was thinking there might be a business or two that gives volunteer days, you know, and that would be great because, and then we only go out for about 2 or 3 hours to do it because it's hard work. I mean, it's really nice work, you know, you're out in the fresh air and you move every part of your body. It's not terribly physical. The ground is uneven. And when people register, we can let them know right away if we have to cancel because we have set some weather guidelines. You know, if it's with wind chill, if it's below 32 degrees, and if there's ice or if there's precipitation, then we would contact the registrant and say, we can't do this Friday. You know, we hope you can register for another Friday. But yeah, so the Boy Scouts worked very hard, and there were about 14 of them. They came twice, and they're almost finished. Part of the process is cutting up the shelters so they can be handled better and recycled better. And now they're in the process of doing that. So yeah, so they spent about 3 hours on each day. But they're young and strong, and they were competing with each other out there. So they got a lot of work done. No play, just work.
Christine, where was this event?
Okay, so now that comes from the Nature Conservancy website. That was a company that
There's a
sent
lot
out.
of, it's a company, there were a lot of people in that picture.
That sent out their volunteers, right, in that one. And the other two, I believe, were from the Scout work that was recently done at Footbridge Park. So we'll finish so the middle section is finished. We want to start on the nearby section, the closest to the park next. And then there's a third section that's the farthest away. We want to do that. When we finish, and if we finish this season with all 3 of those sections, we'll probably want to move upstream because there's a lot, if you know Memory Park in Newton, there's a lot of shelters all over there. And after 5 years, you're supposed to remove the shelters and evaluate if they survived or not. And they're just busting out, you know, of the shelters. So we want to get them recycled or reused. If they're busting out, obviously they can't be reused, but the Trex Corporation recycles them. And if you can lift them off whole, then they're reused. I know they're reused because I planted trees with reused shelters. The stakes, if you can pull them out this time of year, they're reused. If you can't pull them out, when you go in, you take big clippers and you clip them down at the base. That's all you can do. Because some of them have been in so long that the roots of the trees wrap around them. Even in the summertime, if you could get in there, you couldn't even pull them out. So.
What do you see, what kind of survival rate of the trees?
Well, we're seeing about 65% to 70% survival rate. Yeah,
Pretty good.
which is pretty good. Of course, we always get a kick out of the beavers. Chews, oh, there's another one that went to the beavers. But if they chew on the willows tend to resprout. And there's a couple other trees that will do that too. So actually, it helps in a sense because it's binding the soil together.
So there's willows planted?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, willow.
They're real fast growers. In
Yeah.
5 years, they're busting out, right?
Yeah.
They're over the top.
And another one that does really well is the sycamore, I've noticed. And the choke cherry, and of course, the river birch does real well. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You want the extras, or should we save these for the front?
I have some in the
Yeah.
front, but I'd like to take the extras and check these.
So, we got more than
All right. What have you got for us?
Lorraine Meister, Briarville, Maine. On behalf of the Blairstown residents, I would like to thank the committee for funding the 3 events we had this year, and especially the last one, Panther Valley.
That was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. And I hope you'll give us more money next year.
Take that under advisement.
Okay.
Our subcommittee will be working on all those things coming up pretty soon. We'll have to, there'll be a budget meeting pretty soon before we know it.
That's why I'm asking now.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. And thank you for putting on such a great, the Panther Valley luncheon is always a really, really great event. And there was no Name That Tune this year, but I mean, it was,
There were 96 people there.
96.
Well, it went down, it was 96, it went down to 89, we're actually there.
It was a good crowd. It's a great, great cross-section of our residents here. It's nice to see them all. Any other public comments before we move on? Hank, you got anything for us tonight?
None that I can think of.
I just wanted to put you on the spot. All right. All right, we will close the public comment portion of our meeting and move on to the department head reports for the month of November. Blairstown Ambulance Corps, Blairstown Fire Department, Hose Company Number 1, Department of Public Works, Police Department, Tax Collector, Township Clerk, vacant and abandoned properties. We will address all of these separately in our committee reports at the end of the meeting. Do we have a motion to accept November?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. A couple of minutes to accept here, November 27th, 2024 executive session meeting minutes and the November 27th, 2024 public session meeting minutes. Any discussion?
Hearing no discussion, I'll move both for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There we go. And we've got 3 ordinances? Yeah, 3 up for adoption tonight, public hearing. We'll start with 2024-14, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 2024-04, finally adopted by the Township Committee of the Township of Blairstown, New Jersey on June 26, 2024. Do we have any public discussion on this as I open it up to our group? Hearing none, we have a motion to adopt.
So the motion.
Is there a second in there?
Second.
Roll call, please, Kristen.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Loman?
Yes.
Mr. McAtora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Orcott?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes. Next up is 2024-15 capital ordinance to purchase various Department of Public Works equipment. Anything you want to say about this? We'll open it up to the public. Any public comment on 2024-15? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion and move on for a motion to adopt.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Roll call, please, Kristen.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Loman?
Yes.
Mr. McAtora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Orcott?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes. And finally, 2024-16, a capital ordinance for various improvements to township property. We'll open this up for public discussion.
What was this for again? This is for the septic?
This is the $10,000 one, just, this was for the block wall, retaining walls at Gibbons Delay.
Yeah.
Instead of using the money out of the operating expense we didn't have room, so we needed to take some of our capital money. We just made a small $10,000 fund transfer over.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, we will close public hearing section and move on for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please, Kristen.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Loman?
Yes.
Mr. McAtora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Orcott?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes. All right, we've got a consent agenda tonight. 10 items on the consent agenda. Before we go forward, is there anything that we would like to discuss individually, pull out for separate voting. I'll go down through the list. 2024-112, a resolution supporting amendment of the Fair Housing Act as proposed by the New Jersey Institute of Local Government Attorneys. 2024-113, redemption of certificate of sale number 2022-04. That's block 803, lot 9.05. 2024-114, redemption of certification sale 2024-01, block 601, lot 49.02. 2024-115, a resolution supporting the Food Shed Alliance's Paulinskill National Wild and Scenic River Study Reconnaissance. 2024-116, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the contract between Blairstown Township and the County of Warren for the 2025 Municipal Alliance Grant. 2024-117, a resolution supporting submission of the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs 2025 Local Recreation Improvement Grant. 2024-118, contracting for professional services in accordance with the local public contracts law for our animal control officer. And that is a three-year contract. Number 8, 2024-119, transfer of the 2023 budget appropriations. 2024-120, authorizing the transfer of funds. 2024-121, approving vouchers and claims. Any discussion on consent agenda items 1 through 10?
I just want to point out there on the professional services contract for the animal control officer. We typically would do that on January 1st in deference to our incoming committee woman, is why I'm saying this. But he needed it, there was something about the gap in his insurance. He wanted to make sure that there couldn't be a gap. So he asked us to do it this meeting.
There was no insurance
That was the only reason.
certificate with the information that was provided, though, either. That was going to be one of my questions. Do you have the new?
We have it from last year, he'll be providing us the new one once the contract's signed.
Yeah, without a contract, his insurance would have lapsed as of January 1, so.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask you, there's an awful lot of designations in here, designated person for all different things. You have people that are going to be doing this? Somebody to send the letters out, somebody that he would be calling at night.
Well, he reports to the chief of police, so he'd be reporting to the police department for any overnight, as long as it's within our hours that we're operating.
And who would approve any of the additional billing that he would do? Would he be doing that ahead of time? For instance, he's got a certain amount of money for, what is it, let me see, for different things that he does, whether he has to appear in court or whatever. Is there anybody that approves that ahead of time before that's done?
There's no additional charge for court or anything. The only additional charge is if he has to shelter an animal, and that we handle along.
Well, he has in here, municipality may request services outside of the contract, court appearances, dead animal removal from public property, attending rabies clinics, conducting rabies quarantines.
But that's only by our request. So if we don't request it, we don't have to pay.
Right, so we control that.
Yeah.
Okay, and it also stated in here some of the things that may be extra for the public, but I think we should know what they would be, so we could inform the public. And I know that because one of the issues that a friend of mine had was there were rabies in the attic. And in order to go into the attic, I forgot the amount of money that he was going to charge was a lot. But I think that something should be in here to tell us what would he be charging the company.
Yeah. Well, that's a service above and beyond, and that's a service completely separate of his
The
service with us.
municipality is not on the hook for any of that
Right.
non-domestic. That is strictly, you want to go out and get your car detailed, that's not on the municipality. You have a rabies, or you have rabbit,
Or a bat.
bats in your attic. Unfortunately, that doesn't fall under animal control.
I did in the past, all right?
Yeah.
No, it was more of a courtesy.
Yeah.
By law, it does not fall.
Right.
It did.
Joanne, we had a long talk about this previously.
Who?
You and I,
Me and you?
yes, months ago, when you asked me about this, we did.
Okay, well.
And
that's
because it was
okay.
your customer, And I said to you, the reason they don't go into the attic has to do with statutes. An
Right.
animal control officer
Right.
does not control wild animals.
I understand that's not.
So
my
if Robbie
question.
says, if Robbie's in the residence or whatever, and they go, well, what am I gonna do about these bats? He goes, well, my other company is XYZ. If
My
you wanna,
question is.
Sorry?
We want to inform the public that that doesn't occur anymore. They don't go to the attic, they don't go in the basement, they don't go in the garage. The only thing they'll do is if they're in your living room or in your bedroom.
that's a good idea for the
That's those
newsletter.
first two floors,
That's a
that's
good
it.
idea for the newsletter, don't forget, when we do our newsletter.
Just advise the public,
It's
that's
a-
all it is. And if there is a charge, you may want to tell them, that he, may come out, but this is what the charge would be.
That's not fair, because there's got to be, a fair and open business, because if something like that were to occur where you needed a pest service to remove an animal from some part of your residence that's not in the living quarters, you can call any pest service.
Right.
So it wouldn't be fair to say, okay, for Mr. Longoria, we're going to post his fees, but we don't know what ABC Pest Control will do. So the only thing we could do in that case is say, if it's not covered under the rules and guidelines of an animal control officer, contact your local pest control
Yeah,
service.
we could say what we don't do. So that's, I think it's what you're saying, right?
Yes,
At least
yeah.
inform people,
I think people
don't call us if you
They
have.
won't go to the
Right.
attic, they won't go to the garage.
In other words,
et
to
cetera,
inform them of the boundaries.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
because
well-
a lot of people called about cats in their garages.
Yeah.
And our previous animal control officer did go. So just information, that's what we just
Yeah.
inform the public.
And we're gonna talk about cats a little bit more, a little bit later on.
Good.
Or we could talk about it now.
Today, we're talking about cats.
Well,
During the cat portion.
I just signed a
There is
bill,
a cat portion.
I just signed a bill where stray cats get picked up and taken to the animal hospital, to the place that.
There's time, but,
No, it went down to Robbie's place.
oh, down there.
And got all the tetanus shots. Number one, what happened to the cat? Does he get adopted? Does he get put to sleep after they give it shots? I don't know. But are we in the cat business? Are we really doing that? Should we be in the cat business?
If it's a domesticated cat, yes.
If it's a feral cat,
Well,
no.
this was apparently not a domesticated cat. I don't know. How do we know that?
How do we know?
Who makes that call?
Yes, the cat, I guess, I don't know. You know what, I will say that, knowing this gentleman for some time, he does go above and beyond the scope of his duties to help the residents, so that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I understand, but the cat was $450 or something.
And there's-
That just, it destroys him.
How did the cat get to the hospital?
He picked it up. He was
The
called- he was
ACO.
called, Yeah, the ACO picked it up.
So was there a report of what happened to the cat after that?
No, I scrutinized the bill. I didn't see anything in there like that. Although it did say kitty cocktail. I don't know what that means. I hope they didn't put it to sleep. It
Anyway,
said kitty cocktail at the end.
Cocktail hour.
consent agenda items 1 through 10. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will make that.
I would second.
So, roll call, please, Kristen.
It did say kitty cocktail.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Loman?
Yes.
Mr. McAtore?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Orcott?
Yes.
Mayor Mormon?
Yes. Unfinished business. For the last time, we get to hear about Jones Farm.
Mr. Jones Farm.
Who's taking over the Jones Farm?
Well, and you and I have had conversations.
Can I have him? Can I have him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You and I have had conversation on this. I'd like to, obviously, from the resident side of the house, I'd like to stay involved in it. I talked to Donald, he was up here a week and a half ago, he came up with his crew. Everybody ended up sick and they had to go home. They didn't even get a full day's work in. He is definitely anticipating trying to come up next week, depending on the weather. There's definitely another whole tractor trailer load of wood and lumber that they want to take out. So he's definitely engaged and wants to be part of this. So at least we will see him one more time, hopefully.
I'm amazed at his tenacity.
Quite a
He's
character.
removed quite a lot.
He's removed more than I ever thought would disappear from that farm. Kind of saved us tens of thousands of dollars. Okay. Affordable housing. What are
Yeah,
the,
it's kind of next year things. Really, I think Jim Kyle didn't make it last meeting, he sent you guys a memo. I think after the first of the year, sometime between the first of the year and the end of January, unless that date gets moved, keep an eye on it. We're supposed to decide whether we want to participate in this round, adopt the resolution accepting the numbers. I think your number is 65 respectively for the next round, which, by the way, that resolution that was on the consent agenda, if the legislature ever undertook it, would reduce that number to like 11. I don't see that happening.
Not going to happen at all.
I doubt it. You know, but the bottom line is, you saw Jim's memo. He doesn't feel like much risk of any type of building remedy issue. You would have to do some fairly heavy lifting from the zoning standpoint to try to accommodate the 65 units, because you have to multiply that number by 5, basically, you know, for a 20% set aside. So we'll deal with it next year in a timely manner. We'll keep an eye on it.
Councilor, we have a subcommittee for affordable housing. It's going to be myself and Joanne. In fact, we went online and did a DCA seminar a couple of days ago. What are you laughing about? Take this seriously, Joanne.
The two of you have been inseparable, obviously. It's really fun to watch.
I mean,
We'll get together and talk about it after reorganization.
I think we got a proposal also from Jimmy Kyle, it was about 11,500, I think-ish, to do a plan. You're going to have to, if you decide to participate, you won't participate, you want to spend that money. We need a municipal housing liaison. It's probably going to have to be a position that needs some type of stipend, maybe not huge, but something, because there is a decent amount of paperwork that's going to have to be filed to do that position.
February 15th, right?
And then there's a conformance process, if you will, where once we do all that, it kind of opens it up to fair share housing, whoever else wants to complain about it, and you know, see what happens with it. So I would say, you know, round numbers, really very little from the legal standpoint, in my opinion, and that would all be covered by my retainer anyway. But just the planning, municipal housing liaison, some of that stuff. To conform, you're probably going to be somewhere in the $15,000 to $20,000 range next year, so it's not insignificant.
Would we conform or just look like we're conforming? We're not going to conform to the 65 units, of course.
Well, that's what you're going to have to do, and that's my point. If you do, you have to do that resolution right now. Again, those dates might be extended. But right now, at the end of January, to file a resolution saying, yes, we're in the process. Then between January, you only have until June to develop a plan, and that plan is going to have to contemplate 65 units plus whatever it takes to build those. So, again, if you guys recall the last round, we kind of just let it go. Judge Miller didn't really see a good reason for us to keep participating. And really the reason is this lack of infrastructure. You know, really, other than downtown water, you have nothing. So, again, I don't want to be a dead horse at this point, the day after Christmas, but it's something we can address next year and address also.
Spoke to our former municipal housing person today, Teresa. I spoke to her today. She's not interested in it.
I doubt it, because she doesn't want to go out and move.
Well, it's coming back down here, you know, it's an hour ride for her.
Thank you for looking into that, Joanne.
I spoke to Rob about it, I didn't do it on my own. He said it was okay to call her, and I did, right?
We're working very closely together, too. Wow.
Am I incorrect?
This is how stuff gets done, right? Thank you, Joe. New business, a reorganization meeting will be held January 1st at 10 a.m. That is the time where
It's a time where
all the fun happens.
Joanne will be bringing her cookies and pastries and
The
county is
county
at noon. You're doing beverages.
Yeah, I believe the county is.
The county's at noon, yes.
Yeah. All right, we also have our committee liaison list here for 2025. Yes, we're officially changing the title to subcommittees, which makes more sense because as you you have a chair and a vice chair. That's a subcommittee. You can go out and you can get all the information, do all the stuff you need to do with your appropriate assignments, and then come back and tell the rest of us, and we get things done that way, instead of a bunch of people bumping around once a month.
And you know what else happens? There's a lot of responsibility involved.
There is accountability.
Accountability.
There is accountability. When you have to come back and report on something that you were supposed to do, well, that's accountability.
I do have a comment.
You won't need that.
I won't need it, but to think that you would have a subcommittee for the law enforcement liaison?
It's not a subcommittee.
That's a commissioner and deputy.
No, those are commissioners, yeah. Joanne, would you like?
Yeah, I would.
Well, stay right there, stay right there.
Just don't approve it till I see it.
We'll regulate that.
Oh, no, I have to deliver this.
Okay.
I think Bob just got a picture of me hand delivering.
Yeah, I did.
I did steal one.
Joanne, you'll have Finance Subcommittee Chair, Municipal Court Chair, Senior Citizens Chair, Affordable Housing Chair, North Warren Regionals Subcommittee Vice Chair, and Rescue Squad Subcommittee Vice Chair. Eric Lenoman, Deputy Police Commissioner, Class 3 Land Use Board Member, your Recreation Subcommittee Chair, North Warren Regional Subcommittee Chair, DPW Vice Chair, Buildings and Grounds Vice Chair, Blairstown Historical Vice Chair, Blairstown Elementary Vice Chair, Water Utility Vice Chair. Karen Lance, you'll have Personnel Subcommittee Chair. Well, you've got a lot of chairs here, Karen. Emergency Management Subcommittee Chair, Rescue Squad Chair, Blairstown Historical Chair, Blairstown Elementary Chair, and Blair Academy Chair. You are the whole education wrapped up in one. Finance Subcommittee Vice Chair, Senior Citizens Vice Chair, and Recreation Vice Chair. Deputy Mayor Orcutt, you'll be Deputy Mayor.
I will.
That's what it says here. We'll see about that. Class 1 Land Use Board Member, Deputy Fire Commissioner, Department of Public Works Subcommittee Chair, Open Space Chair, Buildings and Grounds Chair. You've done an amazing job. We talk about a guy who has owned buildings and grounds, who has become synonymous with buildings and grounds, who is constantly out on the road checking on something buildings and grounds related. It's you. You certainly deserve that chair again. Intermunicipal County, State and Federal Liaison, Vice Chair, and Affordable Housing Vice Chair. Yours truly, hopefully Mayor, Police Commissioner, Fire Commissioner, Water Utility Subcommittee Chair, Intermunicipal County, State and Federal Liaison Subcommittee Chair, and then Blair Academy Vice Chair, Emergency Management Vice Chair, Municipal Court Vice Chair, Personnel Vice Chair, and Open Space Vice Chair. So there you have it.
Good. Well,
A lot of stuff going on next year, not the least of which is the police contract.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
might have to say, looking at the great selections by here, I think it's outstanding. And I'm especially excited about Karen Lance doing Blair Academy. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do with that, Karen.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be an exciting one to watch. Good luck, everyone.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. 2025 Fund Commissioner. I hear we have a Fund
We do,
Commissioner.
and I will have that on the resolution for the reorganization. Christine Roloff is taking it.
Fantastic.
Freedoms.
Blairstown Hose Company #1 membership application. Mike Rose.
He submitted his resume, and I'd like to make the motion that we approve that.
I'll second that motion.
We are never going to turn somebody down from from volunteering for our hose company #1. He is lives in Columbia now, and by all accounts, an upright man.
Well, he has a Columbia address. He lives in Blairstown.
Yeah.
Is it?
Frog Pond.
Frog Pond.
Yep. So he's in Blairstown. Very good. We have a We have a motion to approve Mike Rose for membership to Blairstown Hose Company #1.
We did mandatory motion and Orcott second.
You heard that?
I didn't, Mayor.
I wasn't listening.
It's okay.
I'm talking. Yeah. When I'm talking,
We know.
when I'm doing something.
We know. We're aware.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Just a little ahead of you.
Congratulations, Mike Rose. We've got a plethora of correspondence this month.
Yes, we did.
Is there anything in here that we should spotlight and bring to the surface and discuss? Yes.
I would say no. It's not dog park,
No, I don't want to go there
not there.
at all.
Okay. What?
Other than the dog park, is there anything?
No.
Okay.
Leave Fort Time alone.
Cat content. All right. Yeah, I'm looking through this.
Is that something you can buy online or what?
I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. All right, good enough. From the township attorney, what do we got?
We have a little bit of executive session we can discuss. I saw that on the agenda. The only thing I wanted to bring up tonight, hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you had a great Christmas, and looking forward to working with everybody next year. Last meeting, we had a discussion in executive, and we gave you some direction on the White Cell post-retirement health insurance issue. It's been resolved along the lines that we suggested. She was able to get her and her spouse onto the correct plan. That will start in January, and we were able to file with pensions the correct Chapter 48, and the issue is done.
That's really good news.
Thank you.
Really
I
good
think
news.
it was worked out good for you guys. It worked out fairly for your employees.
Sure. It's hard to go through
Yeah.
through life without the proper insurance. I'm
Yep.
really glad that worked out for
Yes.
our family.
Also check the box so that the coverage ends with when they go Medicare up. So that, we may adjust that down the road for Lisa, but that, we had to do that because of the spouse involved. But it worked out very well. It's done issue.
Thanks for your work on that, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Great job. Thank you.
From the township clerk, anything for us, Kristen?
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone also, and our rabies clinic was a huge success. We did have it for an hour and a half this year, and it was a constant flow, as I should say. We never had a downtime. So,
Usually is.
and Happy New Year, everybody. And thank you, Continuing Mandatory, for all that you've done.
From the township committee, let's see, committee member Lance.
So I actually see Tara Mezzanotte in the audience, and I would like to invite her to comment on what's going on with the Baldwin River. I know it's a little
Where
bit
did
out
she
of turn.
come from?
She texted me she was going to be a little bit late, and I said, you know what, let's try to see. And I apologize, but I'm also going to ask Bob Halberstadt to speak after that if he hasn't gotten on the call by then.
This is not my duty night,
I heard that about you, that's
so I'm
good.
staying here all night.
We like that.
You getting comp time for this? Just wondering.
Yes, the
Are you
approved
getting something?
resolutions,
Good.
yes.
I'm in the same page.
Good evening, Tara.
Good evening. I apologize. Merry Christmas and
Merry
Happy Holidays. Which am I commenting?
I think Paul and Skill,
Very good.
yes.
She doesn't even know why she's here, Karen.
I know why I'm
She wears very many hats.
I know I'm here wearing two hats, but at the moment, I would like to speak on the resolution that I do believe you passed.
Yes, we did.
We did.
Thank you. So, Tara Mezzanotte, I am here wearing the hat of the Food Shed Alliance's Paul and Skill Wild and Scenic River Project. And I want to just point out specifically with the resolution you passed tonight, that we are now at a stage where we're moving towards all of Warren County, the Warren County municipalities of Knowlton, Blairstown, Hardwick, who have, all three have passed resolutions of support, moving on to Frelinghuysen, and then once, whether Frelinghuysen joins on or not, you know, I don't want to speak to the likelihood of that or not, it's really not the point. Like you guys, we're presenting the information on the project for you to deliberate on it and decide
if you want to support the study at this time, the reconnaissance phase of this portion. So once we're done with all three, with the information that we've gathered, we will then be going to Warren County and asking the county then to pass a resolution of support to whatever has occurred. The three that have passed it, hopefully Frelinghuysen will do the same, irregardless. Then Warren County will take that information and be moving on up to Sussex County. So really what we're doing now is just gathering the expression of support from the local communities. A key provision of the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, the partnership model, is that it has to have local support. So what you just did wasn't required. It was the process that the Food Shed Alliance felt was important as a part of the educational process to get where we're going. So you're that much more educated by passing this resolution of support or even just considering it. And the hope is that by using this process, by the time we get through this, all the way up the pollen skill, even if some municipalities don't see the value in supporting this phase, maybe because they're not a year into this educational process like you guys are, we're going to be coming around at the back end, irregardless, asking for support for the full Wild and Scenic study. That's a 3-year federally funded study to determine and vet the eligibility and suitability for our pollen skill to be wild and scenic. So,
Easy to lose the forest for the trees or lose the
it
river
is,
for the
it
droplets.
is,
I
it
don't know
is.
how
So
to put that, but-
I just wanted to speak to like where we're going now because we have quite the Warren County momentum. And see if you had any questions about that. It is quite a bit. Questions?
So I will just say that Deputy Mayor Orcutt and I were going through and we were saying that there's a lengthy description of a lot of the different historical benefits and the different things that are going to be true and part of the resolution, and in general, to go through it and see the level of detail of the research that's gone into it is very gratifying, because although it seems cumbersome at this point, we recognize that it makes things sail a whole lot smoother later on in the process. And so I thank you for that level of detail and research. But it's always good to know the overview of what is happening elsewhere and where we fit into that process. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it. It's been fun. I love our rivers. I love our waters. I lived in Blairstown for many years on the pollen skill, so it's all good. So thank you. I'll wait for public comment and I'll come back up with a different hat on.
Thank you.
There'll be a closing public comment. Right?
No.
Well, no.
No?
How long will it take? You want to do it
You
now?
need to change your hat.
Take up Karen's time, it's fine.
He's so good to volunteer.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Tara Mezzanotte, and I am I'm a municipal representative for the I-80 611 Delaware Water Gap Project. And I need to let you know we have some very good news. And thanks to all the towns, Blairstown showing up at the meetings that we needed to, 3 in particular in the past year. And the county and our state and federal reps on both sides of the river showing up every step of the way regarding the retaining wall project, where we have no issue with addressing the 4 critical panels and the other 7 that probably need to be addressed in some way. But we do have an issue with replacing 38 5 panels. Why do we need to replace the entire retaining wall at this time is the issue at hand. So by everybody showing up, asking the right questions, and even really just showing up. You know, at one meeting we have 50 local officials showing up at a meeting where probably normally there's 7. But we blitzed it, asking the right questions. The soonest the shovel can go in the ground is 2026. It was 2025. The reason Warren County was notified of this delay, and the reason for the delay is additional consultation with the National Park Service. They're the ones that they will not always say with the federally recognized tribes. Sometimes consultation with the National Park Service, the tribes fall under that umbrella because they're the ones partially responsible for advocating for the resources. Also with consulting parties, section 106, that's about the historical values that we've been talking about, the Delaware Water Gap possibly being a national natural landmark, a national historic landmark, that's another designation. And the environmental assessment, or environmental review, I should say. So those are the points that we've been hammering home. I want you to know I've also had conversations with, on our side of the river, Senator Booker's office has always, it's important to say this publicly, that since 2019, his office has been engaged as requested by Hardwick and Knowlton Township back in 2019. And they really said the deal was, the only thing they could promise is they will ask the DOT to have good communication with us. So I've held on to when do we ask for them to follow up and get questions we've asked answered. You know, when do you call on a senator about a state project? So we've recently been talking about asking for actions regarding this possibly being a national natural landmark and a national historic landmark, as well as where is the big study that we've all been asking for a number of years, Exit 4 to the Delaware Water Gap. So if you're going to talk about a $200 million project now, is what it is, and it's a 7-year project, before doing so, would you please go back and give us a reasonable response to the formal questions that have been asked by multiple counties, by multiple towns? And where is the study of all the safety issues in that corridor? And pretty much, please don't go forward with any project until that is addressed. So it's important for me to give you that kind of update. Thank you for being a part of that process, for the resolutions, for showing up as you have.
Thank you.
Good enough?
That's it.
I think so.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
And lucky thing, there's no limit on the amount of words that committee member Manning is allowed to say, so she could really speak for whatever she needs to. Just pointing that out. But I am going to ask Bob Halberstadt if you wanted to come up and share some insights on the rescue squad.
I just came from Main Street where they had the menorah lighting, as they do it every year. Whatever the weather, I was glad to see representatives of the county. It was a less of a crowd today, but that's not fine. I'm the president, I was vice president, last year now president. I didn't show up at a meeting saying they made me president. That's what happens. That's how most people get in office. Halberstadt's not here, make him vice president. Anyhow, I just wanted to give you a brief rundown of the calls for November. There were a total of 86 calls for service in 911, and we traveled about 4,400 miles. And figuring on man hours, or I should say volunteer hours, not man hours, we had about 960 volunteer hours to the squad. We have our annual meeting January 4th, and hopefully I'll see some of the people here at the meeting. It's going to be at Brook Hollow Winery. We have about 30 active members this month, putting in a lot of time. It's not one of our busy months. However, we're happy to do whatever we can for the community. As soon as they call 911, if we're available. Majority of our calls are actually falls and lip assists. We did some standbys and maybe a 5-call standby. Maybe an accident or two, but sometimes you get a call, someone's out of bed, just lip assist. They sign a RMA, refuse medical transport. And that's the majority of our calls. Nothing really serious, which is good, but we're ready if they are. We constantly train. I don't think we've had anything this month, particular unusual training, but during the warmer weather, we actually have a lot of outside training, social rescue calls. Aside from that, it's a pleasure serving the town and having you guys serve. We know how you feel about the squad and EMS and the fire department also. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and see you next year. See you January.
January 4th.
See you on the first? No, see you.
The first and the fourth, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you for that one, okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Happy New Year.
And two other brief things. I did have a meeting with Warren County Superintendent, and we have a second meeting coming up with Mayor Jackson from Hardwick, and we are looking for some representative from the Freeland-Kaiser Board of Education. We don't have one in here yet. But we're collecting data and process information on school district consolidation. The whole point of that is that previously each of the school districts had to agree upon the process and the timing for the study. That's the first step, is to have the study. And the study is very expensive to do. And I think 2012 was the last time that, 2012, no?
We did it in 1990s. I
Well,
remember
that's what I'm
ever
saying.
doing it again.
I think it's been done twice that I know of, and so I'm here 30 years, so. But the whole point is, the whole process begins with the study, and the study is the expensive part, and it takes into consideration the school debt for the buildings, all of the contractual obligations that are existing, and just starts to propose different methods that might consolidate as far as position by position. What's the school census? What is the trend of the school census? Up, down? The school census is very, very small and shrinking for every year. So unless there's a very full build out or any other very, very different things that happen in zoning, it's going to continue to shrink. At any rate, so that is happening, that's ongoing. And just briefly, we have worked with with Christine Beagle to create a calendar of the cycle of different grant opportunities. So for example, if there was a season or a cycle in the month of January in 2022 or 23, then we're looking for that same cycle and the same paperwork or similar paperwork to be available in 2024, 2025, and so forth. So we've identified, last year we identified, I think, 16 different opportunities. And this year, when I went to League of Municipalities in November, I don't know, I felt like I hit the jackpot in Atlantic City, because we actually went to 5 or 6 different other concerns that were there for grants, and as far as just being put on the proper email chain or being notified of the different opportunities that were there. It was really, really very rewarding, because you sit back and there's so many grants that are out there, and we look at grant announcements and we say, oh, why is Blairstown's name not on that list? Oh, let me get into that grant cycle and understand what the timing is and what has to be prepared. So that's what's going on, and that's it. We turn it back to you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Karen. Committee member Lohman, what do you got for us?
I will be brief. I will say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. I will say please be careful when you're driving on Route 80 so that you don't fall into the new sinkhole that's out there. Hopefully that's not something that they mull over too long and get it fixed quickly. And I would like to say that it was a pleasure working with you, Charlie. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes, sir. Hey, from the police department, Corporal Herzer and his K-9 partner Riggs has officially graduated from the Union County Sheriff's Department. So, excuse me, as of December 20th. So the dog is now fully certified, and he'll be working out there not only in narcotics but tracking. And if you remember our last dog, I mean, it became a part of the community and school. So we're really excited to have them out there working together again. The other thing the chief wanted to talk about is the suspicious drone activity over the township. And I'm sure everybody's been following it throughout the county. I can tell you that the chief has been in contact with not only the New Jersey State Police and our colonel, but with the FBI and Homeland Security. And he's gotten as much as information as you have. There's just nothing out there. Nobody. And so the only thing he recommends is if you see a suspicious drone, and you can really identify it as being a drone, especially over, whether the airport, Yards Creek or something, there's an FBI tip line out there. He's asking the police call it in. So that's enough for drones. We have a new alpha test machine, which is something that's been coming down the pipe for a couple of years. Very expensive endeavor, but we now have that. It's up and running. So we're state-of-the-art in compliance with the state of New Jersey on alpha test. That's for drunk driving, by the way. Spring Valley Road in Hardwick Township is going to be closed as of January 6th, and that's the county that's going to be working on that. That's probably going to be closed for quite a few months. Warren County is still finalizing the detour routes, so they're just saying basically stay tuned for an announcement later on where that's going to be, if that affects your area. The other thing that Chief wanted me to remind everybody is the village, our alternate side parking whenever the snow is. This time of year, we've already had 2 snows, so, please be aware of that if you're in the village. The last thing the Chief wanted me to convey to everybody is he really wants to express his gratitude. During the holiday seasons, a lot of residents and businesses donated to the police officers, whether it be food, refreshments, or whatever. So he really wants to express his gratitude for that and thank everybody. Jones Farm, I've already talked about. And lastly, my tenure with the committee. I want to first thank Kristen and our municipal staff for the last 3 years. Anything and every time I've called, she's either answered and had my call every time and had my back. So Kristen, I really appreciate all your help. Thank you. Karen and Eric, we haven't been here for 3 years together, but you both have been, a lot of fun to work with. And every time I've had it again, you've been great to work with. Unfortunately for Walter and Rob, they had to put up with me in all 3 years. I want to thank them for not only their friendship, but their work ethic and their tenacity to get something done, to always move the municipality forward. So, gentlemen, I thank you. Mr. Bernberg, our municipal attorney, his wealth of knowledge in municipal law, and again, every time I've called him, and these gentlemen and young lady will attest that he gets right back to us. So he's been a really, really nice advocate to work with. And I appreciate it. And thank you, Kevin.
I appreciate that.
DPW. I know, our deputy mayor is very involved in DPW, but under the leadership of Eric Houston, it's outstanding. I don't care what time of day, what day it is, anytime you call, they're responsive. So obviously they make us look great. So I want to thank them too. And lastly, our police department. Everybody knows my background in law enforcement, and there's always been this bantering back and forth between state police and municipal. But I'll tell you, we're working in the last 3 years with Chief Johnson and that staff. They are incredible. They're one of the best, and I think they're the best in the county, if not, I'll put them up against anybody in the state of New Jersey. So I want to thank him. I want to thank the officers and all that they've done. Anytime I've called them for anything, they've been right there. And they love our town, they love our residents, as do I. So that's it for me. As I move forward and as the committee moves forward in 2025, I wish you all the best of luck. You're going to be sitting me. I'm going to be sitting out there now in the green chair, and I get to handle you all. But I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for putting up with me for 3 years, and I wish you all not only a Merry Christmas, but Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Charlie, it's been a quick 3 years. It really has been. But I can say, from my point of view, everything you've touched in the past 3 years, you've made better. Every piece of responsibility that you've been shouldered with, you've done something even better with it. You've taken it to the next level. You've saved the town literally tens of thousands of dollars. And I think we talk and we chuckle about the Jones Farm because it's this ongoing process. But what you did to literally one man to go out and find someone in this country that would come here and dismantle a barn of that size and not cost the town a dime. And you would think there'd be a lot of people waiting to do that. There weren't. And you found the one guy in Georgia willing to come up here, and you were his liaison. You became his go-to guy. You would go out and get them whatever they needed. You had me come down there and hold a spotlight one night to load the truck. But I mean, you took that project and you made it your own, and only to save money for this town. That was the whole point of it. Because the demolition of that farm would have been so costly, it's something we didn't want to get into. And you made that yours, and I thank you for every moment you spent on that.
Don't forget the asbestos too.
One thing that was holding us up for years after years, we heard about dangerous asbestos in the barn complex. And you were able to find a company that came in and took our little minuscule amount of asbestos that was there for a price that spun our minds. Where our heads were just like, what? That's all it's going to take? It's something that was so seemingly so daunting. You made it look very easy, and you did such a great job with that. Every time I drive by that place, I'm going to think about you, and of course, our friend from Georgia. And one thing about Charlie is he's treated every dollar, every tax dollar, like it's his own. I've never seen a man with such great fiscal responsibility. There was never a time when I said, oh, Charlie's going to overspend on this. This guy knows the meaning of a dollar, and he knows what it means to taxpayers to sit up here and try to save as much money for them as you can, and you have done that admirably. You've single-handedly added transparency to our meetings that we never had before. We were never on YouTube before, and you took that upon yourself to do that and bring that thing home and edit that thing down and upload it. And I know how long it takes to upload to YouTube for, when you go over an hour or so. And people have responded to that so well, and I certainly hope we can keep that up in the new year. But you've been incredibly responsive to the needs of our police department, and as you know, our police department is one of our crown jewels. We have the only police department in all of our neighboring towns, and I think a lot of people are very, very jealous of us for that, and I love that. I love the pride that we have in our police department, and they could not have found a better guy to oversee what they do and how we interact with them than you have with your lengthy experience in law enforcement. And just, on a personal note, I'm going to miss you, Charlie. I really will. And I'm so glad to have been sitting here with you for 3 years and running with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we do have a plaque for you. It's just the holiday season kind of tied it up. I was going to ask Joanne for hers back. I was going to scrape the name off of it. Because, I'm not sure what she's going to do with that plaque now.
All the other ones.
We're going to have to change something on there. But that it will be on its way. We'll hand deliver it to you. Promise. All right, on to, Deputy Mayor Orcutt, you got for us.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Listen, the first order of business tonight, Christine our CFO, was going to have a resolution for us. We do have one thing that we need to get done before the end of the year. Eric Usinowitz has identified a piece of used equipment. He found the city of Hawthorne has through their little network of municipal DPW guys, they found a truck body, a stainless steel dump body with the correct stuff for spreading salt and all that. A real good dump body with all the lights and bells.
It has brine tax too, doesn't it?
Has what?
It has the brine tax as
Oh, yeah,
well.
well, that's another thing. They were putting a hook lift on the truck in Hawthorne, so they took that body off. Now, we don't have a dump truck for a year or so, or maybe the year coming up. But it's stainless steel, it sits there, doesn't hurt a thing. The body was roughly $70,000. We're able to buy it. Hawthorne had been trying to sell it, but it's very, very difficult for the town to sell something for the price they want or whatever. But anyway, they made an interlocal agreement with us to buy it for $5,000. And that's a great, and there's all the bells and whistles on the body, the lighting, the strobes, the blah, 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 all that stuff. So I just want to make a motion that we authorize Christine. It comes out of it's in capital anyway, but we just haven't had time to do the formal work on it. So I'll make a motion that we approve the $5,000 purchase out of capital.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with Eric about this. I love how he does this, though. He does have that little network of DPW people that he talks to, even out of state. It's just, he learns about these deals. And a lot like you, Charlie, when he sees a good deal, he can't pass it up. And knowing that will save us probably, about $60,000 down the line, better to spend the $5,000 now than 65 or 70 down the line. So yeah, Let's have a roll call for that, Kristen.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes?
Mr. Loman?
Yes.
Mr. McAtoy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Orcott?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes.
And while we were talking about that today with Eric, I noticed, I was reminded about all the brine, what I call them brine tanks. We also do calcium chloride applications to mitigate the use of salt in a lot of the cases. And that was another deal that Eric came up with months ago that we approved earlier in the year. We're finally doing it now. Knowlton, for whatever reason, bought a bunch of brine tanks and truck tanks and a big holding tank, and they wanted to sell it, and they really couldn't get rid of it. They didn't know how to sell it. So Eric had been talking to them. They wanted $10,000, and then Eric said, "Oh, I think we can get it for $7,000." I said, "I bet we can get it for $5,000." I think we ended up getting it for $5,000 for the tanks. But the tanks that we did, to our benefit, the tanks are all in the trucks. They're using them. It's working out great. And again, that's what Eric does. He's very smart and creative about making sure that we don't overspend when we don't have to. The other thing I wanted to show, I just showed everybody tonight to show that we did get it done in 2024. This is the plaque that's going to be going on the Gibbons Belay Hall in favor of the Rotary had put a lot of money. I want to say closer to $150,000 in Gibbons Belay for us, and we got a plaque. This is very simple, stainless steel, very similar to the plaque that we did for Big Green Fields, actually. And the Rotary guys couldn't be here tonight for the presentation, but we didn't want to get to 2024. We wanted to get it in tonight at least. But we are going to have a program, an opportunity up at the Gibbons Belay. When it gets nice out, and actually when it gets a little closer, when it's nice out, they'll get the folks who are the community who donated. There was, the Jane Mission over there, Blair Academy, Blue Ridge, H&S, Rotary, of course, Agenstone, the Laws, Eric Jen, the Kennedys, New Baker Funeral Home, and O'Brien Architects. They'll get those guys out there for the photo shoot too. And it's pretty well done on the outside, except there's a bed area there to the right of the front walkway. Up a little higher, that's going to be where all those pavers, the engraved pavers are going to go. I think that's kind of done. They've sold them all. They're ready to go, and they're going to order them sometime soon and have them for the spring, and they'll be put down the pavers, a permanent memorial garden there with the pavers. So they've been a really good partner for us, the Rotary. And I said to Bob, I said, "What do you want the plaque to look?" He goes, "Well, maybe, I don't know." I go, "You know what? Lay it out for us, Bob, and we'll get the plaque." And everyone was very happy to see the plaque. I actually showed them a picture of it, and it worked out perfectly. The only other thing I want to talk about tonight is a little bit about Charlie, of course. It's hard to top your words, Mayor. Much more wordy than me, but when Charlie, I can't believe it's 3 years, by the way, but around this time, 3 years ago, when we were, talking before you got on the committee, and I know one of the things that you wanted to do was actually get things done. And we've been able to do that. We've worked together. We've got a great team up here, and you should be very proud of your service to the committee. From my perspective, I've gained a friend, so you can't do any better than that. At the end of the day, we're friends, and whatever happens in the future, nobody can change that. So, thank you for your service here on the committee, Charlie. And we'll keep you busy doing some stuff. In fact,
I gotta digress because there's only a few people here, but people watching on YouTube. This year, spending years in business, I love watching marketing. My wife knows what I'm going to talk about. Anybody that's watched TV this holiday season, there has been this TV commercial that comes on, and it's that cologne Rabbit Bed, right? So some of you may or may not have seen this commercial. But it's the three very beautiful young ladies, and this gentleman comes in, and he circles around the room, and they smell, and it's like, oh my God. And he finally leaves the room and says, oh my God, did he leave? But after they talk about introducing this cologne and stuff, And they take the shot away, and all of a sudden they show this one lady on by herself. And she goes, "Oh my God, did he leave? Bring him back, please." Right? And it's a British accent. To me, I think it's the best marketing commercial I've ever seen in my life. But my wife laughs. So tonight, I have Gravite on, so you can all say, "Please bring him back." The food resist, I had to do that. That's right. Okay, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Kind words.
All right, I'm done there.
I've never heard of that cologne.
Oh my God,
Because
the commercial's
I
hilarious.
don't watch any TV, that's my problem. All right, what have I got for you? Well, water utility, we're still in the process right now of getting a financial evaluation of our water system. But, you know, last time we toyed with the idea of selling our water system, we had very little bids or low bids. We had like one offer that no one took seriously, and we probably should have, in hindsight, would have saved us, about $700,000. But I just had an informal conversation the other day with the Director of Business Development for Veolia, and he said we are absolutely interested. So I've now had 3 different major water players in this state say they are interested, very interested in our water system. And I know all 3 of those could take care of that system a lot better than we can and give it the needed repairs and bring it into its, bring it into the 20th century. Our water tower being well over 100 years old. But yeah, so that was a really good conversation. And let's see, fire department for the month of November, they had to deal with that drought that we were all experiencing with the burn ban and all. But they did have 36 calls of duty in November, 22 in Blairstown, 9 in Hardwick, and then 5 mutual aid, Hope, Frelinghuysen, Stillwater, and Mount Bethel. And they did bring in a new member in November, brought in a new member tonight, and we just voted on them. That would bring their membership to around, they say 45, I'm thinking about 46 members as of tonight. That is a really amazing number for a volunteer organization. Certainly a volunteer organization who routinely, puts their own safety on the line and does what they have to do for the life and property of taxpayers. So,
What is your optimal membership?
I would, Bob, do you have any insight on that? What's the best membership number for a volunteer fire company?
This is pretty good. I mean, not all of them are active. I mean, depending on what time of day a call goes out, whether it's a brush fire, we have many of those, but we always had someone to answer the call.
Right.
We did not have to go to a mutual aid call, asking for help. We always mutual aid other people. So
Yeah.
We have a bunch of really good guys, and I've watched them progress from ordinary black hats up to yellow and coming white soon. Yeah, I'm impressed with the aggressiveness. They want to do something for the fire department and the community. I'm impressed with these guys.
Oh, sure, and it shows in the leadership structure as well. That the younger guys are coming up through the ranks, and it's great to see that hose company has legs for probably the next, as I can see sitting in a meeting, they've got legs for the next 20 years sitting there, and they just continue to get more volunteers in. It's a great thing to see. So another, like we said, the police department. Well, we also have a fire department and an ambulance corps that people are. They look at us and say, "How do they do it?"
And keep getting new people at the call also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somehow we do it.
Recruiting is going great. We have 3 people who are going to be graduating as EMTs from the school, a new medical center, the EMTs by the end of January. And there are cadets coming in from the high school who want to be a member of the Corps. We had Brian Conlon, who wants to join the squad. We all know him. He was here with the CPR project, the defibrillator project, and word's getting out. the ambulance corps is there for the township, and a lot of people want to be there as part of the corps or the township.
Yeah. You can't get any closer to the residents of this town than helping them on that personal level, so.
We don't know everybody in the town we service, but when you see them on the street, they remember you when you came to the house. And you saw
Oh, yes.
them. You don't remember them because we've seen thousands of patients, but they remember you, and it's always good.
Thank you, Bob. That is all I have for this evening. We do have an executive session that we want to get into and resolve some contract negotiations. So I will say that we will make a motion for 2024-122, resolution authorizing executive session for contract negotiations. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Hey, welcome back, folks.
So all we do is decide that we are going to place the Hardwick interlocal for the clerk and the Milton interlocal for the CFO will be on the reorg agenda. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right.
There we go. That's what we discussed.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay, we have a motion.
No, we need to resolve what we're doing with the camera or what we're doing in reorganization. What are we doing?
What we're going to do is reorganization.
Well, reorganization is coming up next.
Right. What do we need to resolve? What we're doing in reorganization. What do you mean by that?
Are we recording going forward?
I would like to continue to record going forward. Although Charlie has a special set of skills that make him invaluable. How much work is it when you take
This
this?
is nothing, $50,000 a year. Just saying.
It's not going to be pensionable.
Maybe we can do an interlocal with Charlie. That's true.
You're all funny. Funny.
I would like
Why is
to.
Walter not smiling?
I would like to continue. I would like to continue doing it. I mean, I don't.
I can commit and do it as much as I can. We'll work it out. I like doing it for the public.
I mean,
It can't be that.
let me say this about the recording thing. It is a nice idea, but I don't know if you guys are aware, but they have, been expanding the interpretation of what is a government record. And at this point, if you continue to record it next year, the entirety of those recordings are going to have to be archived. And that might be the biggest lift. So I don't know, again, I don't want to be a, Debbie Downer, but I really think that's going to be a major undertaking, I think, to keep that archived and keep it accessible.
Well, it sits on YouTube. It's pretty well archived right there.
That's in perpetuity.
Is it?
Once
Okay.
YouTube goes
It
out.
sits on YouTube. I don't know if that counts for strict rules,
I don't know
but
either.
but it is being archived there, so.
Okay.
League municipalities, I think basically they said everything was anywhere from 1 to 5 years, it depends what it was. Chances are that's going to be 1 year, because your official transcript is what Kristen has on the
Well,
recording.
but with all due
Which is
respect,
only 80 days.
Pardon?
Transit. Recordings are only 80 days.
That's even better.
with all due respect though, it doesn't work having Charlie do the camera. Oh, okay, I thought that's what we were talking about before.
Well, that's it. He was trying to
Oh,
volunteer
50 grand
for
or
it, but,
something.
no, I,
I mean, it does.
Okay.
It's not even in possession, because I don't approve it.
Well, I-
I've also looked at the viewing numbers, and we don't have a tremendous amount of people watching these things. If I were, if I wanted to monetize something, I wouldn't be going by those numbers, that's for sure. The numbers aren't really there, so
But they're there, for perpetuity.
Right.
The only time they're there is when there's a hot run. I mean, let's say we're going to get rid of our fire department, or,
Right.
then the numbers go up the charts.
So
That's what I've seen from other municipalities and ours. Depends on
And
the hot run. The warehouse, when we had the warehouse discussion.
The other option to consider next year, again, when you're putting together your budget, Charlie probably isn't aware of this. During COVID, a lot of municipalities installed some systems, Belvedere's, I think it's called the OWL system.
Yeah.
It's probably about 12,000, Walter, but when you're done, basically that thing like hangs from the ceiling, like let's say you're talking, it moves to you, then it's another committee member or woman's talking. It's all recorded, it's very simple. It allows people to log in and zoom in if you want them to be able to still do that. And again, in the long run, something like that, to budget for that, might be a little easier than trying to have somebody stand over there and do it.
Yeah, you don't want it.
And I have to say, and Charlie, but you've seen it work, it works very well. It really does. People really like it. It comes with built-in speakers. You can hear. It's quite a good system. I don't know if you guys have an IT person on but John Paul, one comes to the top of my mind, that could do that, get you a quote for that. Something to seriously consider. It was nice when you had a committee person voluntarily doing that. Without that, I think you're going to...
The only thing I would, again, caution against is ever going live. I just, that's a horrible idea. Horrible.
Yeah, I think we learned that a long time ago.
Mostly in Pennsylvania, when they had a shooter coming out.
Knew where everyone was. So do we want to make a motion to suspend taping until we come up with a better plan?
The only
If
better
you're
plan to
wanting to
take
take-
would be more robust minutes. Something along the lines of what Linda does, like
If the,
Verbatim,
pretty along those lines, yeah.
but
it's not
we,
required.
but we are
We have it, we have it.
but
It's
people
not
could,
required.
listen to a full recording of the
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
So,
It's only available for how long? How long do you hold recording?
I haven't deleted any since I've been here.
all right, so we're getting it's being recorded onto a medium that people can hear everything, right?
Actually, I think it's February, the state was supposed to come out with something, right, the guidelines? Was it February they were going to come out with the new guidelines? I'd say, why don't you wait and see what happens there? You're already talking about.
For what, recordings? That's for recordings? They're coming out?
Good, that one.
Oh, for the.
And what is that? That's the new Oprah,
It's basically,
They are, they.
The new archive regulations will be coming early next year.
So why don't we pause it until we have,
That's what I think Charlie's suggesting. I think it's a pretty good idea.
That's fine.
More information as it becomes available.
I wish we could have,
yeah. But we never took action to put that there.
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yeah.
We actually have a vote for that.
We had to buy it. Number one.
No, we had to buy
We had a
it.
vote to buy it and then a vote to put it on YouTube. It was when Debbie and Joanne.
Well, should we make a motion to suspend recording until
No, we don't
we...
have to. You should make a
I would
motion.
do it until February.
Yeah, I would love that an hour ago. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Are we still in executive session?
No.
No, the door's open.
Motion?
I make-
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Charlie's down the last gavel. There we are, we're out.
Look, and I got a whole